Hello everyone, it's Quest Quenchers here today, and I want to talk to you about the key lessons from Starfield, enhancing the Elder Scrolls 6. So here are a few things I think the Elder Scrolls 6 could take from Starfield. I'm going to sound very nasally, because I'm still recovering from a very, very harsh cold, which is really irritating. So, yeah, but it's been like 12 days since I've uploaded anything, and I'm just itching to, you know, edit some videos and talk about Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 and all things gaming, to be honest. Got a few ideas. Anyway, so the first thing I think the Elder Scrolls 6 could take from Starfield would be zero G, but it would be the levitation spell. So yeah, so with the zero G feature from Starfield, Bethesda could enhance its dungeons by hiding unique equipment in hard to reach places, and really making dungeons very unique and different. So there's up parts, there's down parts, there's hard to reach places. But it's all like, hey, this you could do this by either levitating up and going into this tunnel, and then you can get further into the dungeon than having to, go through this entire, um, you know, dungeon, like killing things. You can sneak through it and stuff. So it makes like a different way you can tackle each dungeon, which I think would be really, really cool. So hopefully that makes it into the next Elder Scrolls. And then next up, I think the shipbuilding. But use that system for like a house or village building, being able to construct your own home or your castle, and then save it as a blueprint and like and then it transfers over to the settlement building system, and then you can sort of plug it into like an area that you've sort of conquered or something like that, or that you've bought, or that you've became the jarl or whatever, Hammerfell or High Rock, sort of, their kind of leaders. So yeah, I think it will just make it more interesting. So you can have different types of castles and homes with different things, like a bit like the Hearthfire DLC, but it has more, like flexibility and stuff. So you can put different things upon your house and stuff. So yeah, I think that would be really cool, and you could become like a leader of your own village, and then different quests spawn from that. I think that'd just be really, it would make it really interesting and cool. So you can get like different things from that, like your blacksmith can be like, hey, if you really want me to make you unique armor and stuff, why don't you open the mines not far from here or something like that, kind of thing. Then I really like the traits and background system. Like starting off with a few skills and perks. I do like that idea. So it can really make like, hey, I'm going to spec into being a warrior. I'm going to spec into being a mage because I've already got like some perks and skills within this system. So I think that would be really cool. Because there's going to be dozens and dozens of backgrounds and traits, because there's so many different gods that you can worship within the Elder Scrolls, as well as if you think about like the constellations collection on Nexus, there's just like you have this sort of section that's like a start me up kind of thing, so you can like really define your character either as a mage or a warrior or as a thief or an assassin kind of thing, and you'd get the you get the skills that comes along with that kind of lifestyle and background. So it's like you can really like properly craft a character, and I feel like in Starfield you can, but just the way the skills work and stuff are a little bit like not that great in a way. I mean, some of those skills don't even work. The perks kind of thing, unfortunately. So they've, for the next Elder Scrolls, they've got to make sure that every single one blinking works, because nothing more annoying than like investing your time into a skill that, like, oh, I can regenerate my health whilst in combat, and then the skill doesn't actually work. So it's like, oh, great, that's great, that's great. And then I move on to the world variation. Starfield has so many different biomes, fauna, and flora, and the amount of effort that they put into that needs to be in the Elder Scrolls 6. So it's like making a proper food chain, an environment with different creatures fulfilling different roles, and different predators, different prey, different fauna, and like flora, and just like making it sort of, yeah, this seems realistic. There's flies, there's insects, there's, all that kind of stuff that, that Skyrim already kind of did, but just build upon it more. There needs to be more variation of different creatures and stuff like that. And I think, because I'm still discovering new creatures in Starfield. Every time I watch a new video about Starfield, I'm seeing like, holy crap, I haven't encountered that. And I've been to like a lot of star systems and stuff within the Elder Scrolls and different planets, and I haven't came across that kind of creature yet. So that's cool to see, but I'd love to see that in more like a dense area kind of thing, like a country like High Rock or Hammerfell. Different type of creatures fulfilling different type of roles within nature. And then you can even have like the same kind of creature, like in our world, we have you know, you have an abundance of predators that do like wolves, lions, tigers, bears, or my kind of thing that fulfill the same roles and stuff like that within nature. So it's just like, I need that sense of discovery when I'm encountering a new creature in the Elder Scrolls 6. Then next up, the dense cities. Starfield has some interesting cities like New Atlantis. It's big, but it is lacking proper city things. Like you know, Test 6 needs to have large cities that act like cities. Like the sheer amount of people roaming around, it makes it feel real in a way. But I'm not gonna lie, like each city needs to be a proper functioning city. So there needs to be like you can see food production, you can see infrastructure construction, i.e., like blacksmiths and carpenters, stores of all kind. Needs to be entertainment, inns, restaurants, all that kind of thing, and it needs to be on a grand scale, like something, like maybe like thinking about The Witcher, even though there's like there was a lot. It was big, but there's not necessarily things to do, like things you can interact with. I mean, there's still like you can go in pubs and have brawls and stuff, but there needs to be sort of more than that kind of thing. And especially like with how Starfield is being perceived, it is a bit lacking within the city function. I feel there isn't that kind of like, holy crap, this is a real city. It's more like this is just a hub where I find people and sell my crap, instead of like, hey, I can actually go to this bar, order a drink. There's an animation of me drinking. Hey, there's and kind of quests grow from that. And in the viewport in New Atlantis, there isn't really that. There's one quest attached in there, and you can recruit a few people for your ship, but there isn't much else that comes from that. And I feel like there needs to be more things like maybe there should be bards singing, and there should be like people having brawling matches and different drinking games maybe, and depending on like your health or stamina, you can beat this person. So it's just like, and or you have like skills within your social tree, you know, that you can beat people and gain money that way by drinking games and stuff like that, and I think that would be that'll be quite fun in a way. And there's like different services at inns and stuff, or make it a little bit less vanilla and safe. Anyway, next up we have the bounty boards. Starfield has these little job boards that you can make some money from, and I feel like the Elder Scrolls 6 should have this. They could have a couple simple jobs, such as like delivering goods from one city to the other or killing bandits. Maybe even hide large branching quests within these little bounty boards in each city. So every time you go on, you always have that idea of like, hey, I should really look at the bounty board just in case there's a bigger quest within it, and have that expectation. I think would work really well. Um, and I think that would be really cool, having these bigger quests behind bounties, and then little smaller things you can just do. Um, and I think that would work really well. It just break up the playing time and stuff like that. And it's just adding a little bit more. It's going a little bit above and beyond, kind of things. And then also like in Starfield, you have the meaningful companions and romances. I mean, Starfield has romances, so you must take the right choices with your companions in order to romance them. I mean, it's okay for a Bethesda game, although other games like Cyberpunk and stuff handle it much better. as well as friendships. But they definitely need to hire a good writer to make it so like it's not just, hey, do a mission and then I'll fall in love with you kind of thing. It needs to be like a more of a branching path maybe throughout the main quest, and you do little. It's not just like one major quest and then, hey, I'm fully heads over heels, let's get married. Um, it needs to be like a bunch more little things, interactions and stuff like that. Maybe gifting, like, hey, I saw this thing, here you go. And they'd be like, oh, thanks, kind of thing. And then, like, your decisions you make can reflect, like, yeah, that's really good. I mean, they do a little bit of that, but I think it does need to be a little bit more in depth rather than just really linear and simple for, like, every single romanceable and every romanceable companion. It's just a little bit like, this is really boring, unfortunately. Yeah. And then finally, weapon variations. There's plenty of weaponry in Starfield. I mean, especially ballistic. There's not much like laser weaponry and energy weapons and stuff. But there needs to be like, for every sword, there needs to be like, the race equivalent, as well as maybe different styles between blacksmiths and stuff like that. I feel like that would be really cool and interesting, as well as you need to like, your normal crafting system, so you can change the hilt, you can change what kind of metal it is, and what it kind of looks like, and what leather, what fabric, what color, stuff like that. It's just to make it really, really cool and make your weapons so unique to you. But and then also along with that, there is legendary weapons within Starfield, but these need to be legendary weapons. Like named legendary weapons. What I mean, like the Peacekeeper and stuff. It needs to be like, hey, this is probably one of the best weapons, and you need to do away with this like leveling legendary weapons. I just hate it. I want to get the best version of this legendary weapon, and it needs to be overpowered because it's a legendary weapon. Like like the Dawnbreaker needs to just be the Dawnbreaker. There isn't any leveled, kind of thing. Different type of it. It needs to be, this is the Dawnbreaker. There's the only one, and it's very powerful. Kind of thing. And like the Ebony Blade and stuff like that. There just needs to be one version, no matter what the level the player is. If they manage to get I mean, have the quest probably trigger at like level 12, but the weapon is like level 20 or something, or the best weapon you can get for killing vampires. you know. So yeah, that's sort of my thing. There's probably some other things that they can take from Starfield, to make the Elder Scrolls 6 better. But that's all I can come up with at the moment. I might have another video like this when I dissect Starfield a little bit more and seeing the things that I like. But yeah, that's that's all I've wrote today. What do you think? Leave your comments and thoughts below, and please like and subscribe, and take care. Goodbye.